is Dr. Vikas Tilavati Balasaheb Jadhav. Dr. Vikas Tilavati Balasaheb Jadhav has 25 years of experience in the field of gastrointestinal tract, ultrasound and diagnostic as well, therapeutic invention, sonography. He is a pioneer of gastrointestinal tract sonography, especially gastroduodental sonography. And the topic of today's presentation is sonography of the neoplastic disease in the gastrointestinal tract.
Myself, Dr. Vikas Jadhav. I'm a radiologist by profession and I work exclusively as a non-vascular interventional sonologist and gastrointestinal tract sonologist. Completed PhD in diagnostic ultrasound, and my PhD topic was establishing sonographic classification of ulcer in the gastrointestinal tract. And I have now enrolled myself in the second PhD, and the PhD topic is tumor thrombus core biopsy. This is single-blinded prospective study of the diagnostic accuracy of sonography in detection of primary gastrointestinal tract neoplastic diseases. This is to determine the importance of studying upper GI tract sonography on sonography routine in every patient, and especially in patients having abdominal symptoms favoring neoplastic diseases. Scanning technique, resolution of the machine, optimization of the imaging parameters, the fluid distended stomach, because you have to see the mucosa. The mucosa has to be separated due to fluid, and that is usually ingested water or manure using the indigenous secretions to for the necessary manures. This is the first case. 18 January 1996, 3:30 p.m. The one patient came to me to see pancreas as referred by the surgeon to look for pancreas because the patient was having postprandial vomiting, so he was suspecting pancreatic lesion. I scanned this patient, but I found his I could not see his pancreas because stomach was having food and fluid residue obscuring the pancreas. I asked the patient to see me next day morning. Next day morning, the scenario was same, and I asked the patient, I have asked you to come fasting. Why you had a food and came? He said, no, sir. I ate yesterday before coming to you, and after that I haven't had anything. Then I thought why his stomach has not emptied in the scheduled time, and that was my first case of chronic duodenal ulcer causing stricture, and that patient has to undergo gastrojejunostomy, that is a bypass surgery. Following criteria is made with pick up lesions in the gastrointestinal tract, that is delayed emptying of the stomach or GI tract. Wall thickening, its eccentricity and layering pattern. This is called as gut signature. Anatomically, there are 4 layers, but sonographically, there are 5 layers. Peristalsis, whether it is normal, reduced or absent. Distensibility and deformity to label the chronicity of the disease. And persistent adherent speck of air in the wall. While we were doing the barium studies, the barium used to adhere to the irregular surface of the ulcer crater. But on ultrasound, the microbubbles in the ingested water tend to adhere to the irregular surface of the ulcer crater, and that is seen as the right focus. It can be a benign ulcer or malignant ulcer. Ascites, ascites can be seen in perforations and or cocks, and pneumoperitoneum is seen in the perforations of the hollow viscus. This is normal gastroesophageal junction. This is an NG tube which is useful in intensive care units. This is a malignancy of the gastric part of the gastroesophageal junction. This is thickening. This is central is bright lumen, and this is eccentrically pushed lumen. This is malignancy of the gastric part of the gastroesophageal junction. This is again video showing the malignancy of the gastric part of the gastroesophageal junction, causing a polypoidal mass lesion at the level of gastroesophageal junction. This is a hypertrophic pyloric stenosis causing outlet obstruction. This is a benign lesion seen in the pediatric cases. This is a tubercular gastritis, there is an antral thickening, normal duodenum, antral thickening, and perigastric lymph nodes. Endoscopist did the biopsy of the wall thickening, and I did the biopsy of the perigastric lymph node, and both were positive for COX. These are the sessile polyps, and these are the pedunculated polyp within the stomach. This is gastric intramural thickening. This is intramural thickening of the. This is around the anterior wall. This is around the posterior wall. This is again a gastric intramural benign tumor, which is causing a polypoidal growth within the stomach lumen. Otherwise, the rest of the stomach appears normal and having a normal gut signature. This is a mass region protruding within the lumen of the stomach. This was these cases were referred by the endoscopist. After doing the scopy, they found a mass or bulge along the posterior wall. I did the sonography, and I found these are not the solid structure, these are the cystic structures. This is a spring. This is a spring water cyst within the posterior wall of the stomach, and this is the intramural pseudocyst of the pancreas. This is acid gastritis. This patient was having accidental ingestion of the acid, and he was having grossly thickened and edematous stomach with intramural fluid collections. This is acid gastritis. This is a chronic gastritis. This is having a gut signature, but it is slightly accentuated. So this will not go in favor of malignancy. This will go in favor of chronic inflammation. That is the chronic acid gastritis. This is again a benign wall thickening of the outer layers of the stomach. This is the video of the benign thickening of the outer layer of the stomach. These are the gastric basals seen within the gastric lumen, and these are the large mass lesions which are not adherent to any wall. Then we'll move to the duodenum. This is stomach, biliary canal, well-rounded triangular shape of the duodenum, second, third, and fourth part in front and beyond the spine and great vessels. This is again a normal duodenum. This is a normal duodenum. This is a normal duodenum. These are the dirty ascites. That is ascites with lot of turbidity and food particles, which is seen in presence of the benign or malignant ulcer perforations. This is a pneumoperitoneum seen within the fluid. This is liver. This is a perihepatic fluid, and there is the air. This is a pneumoperitoneum. This is an ampulla of Vater. This is normal ampulla of Vater. This is again normal ampulla of Vater, but it is having colloidal cyst. These patients were referred by the endoscopist. They found there is a mass at the second part of the duodenum, and they took the biopsy, and that was negative for malignancy. So the patient was sent for ultrasound, and I found the ampulla of Vater was having normal size, but it has been prolapsed into the second part of the duodenum, causing a half moon shape of the second part of the duodenum. This is a normal ampulla, but it is prolapsed. This is again a prolapse, but it is containing a small calculus impacted within. This is a duodenal hematoma, intramural hematoma. This is causing a tight stricture. This is eccentrically pushed lumen. This is a pediatric case, and he was having a trauma in the epigastric region. And this is a hematoma. This is a large hematoma with eccentrically pushed lumen. This patient was again a pediatric patient, and he was having a dengue, and it was causing a DJ flexure hematoma, intramural hematoma, mimicking as a mass lesion. This is the same DJ flexure hematoma. This is an adult patient. He was having a huge mass in the epigastric region extending from right renal hilum to left renal hilum, and it was a intramural mass or hematoma. It's a hematoma with eccentrically pushed lumen. This was a large mass lesion, which is actually a hematoma. These are the duodenal polyps with some calcifications within. This is at the junction of second and third part of the duodenum. It is having calcifications within. This is a duodenal malignancy. The volume is actually enlarged in size, and it is having loss of gut signature. There is no gut signature. This is a malignancy of the ampulla of Whiter causing a double touch sign. This is dilated PD and this is a dilated CBD. This is the mass, and this is again a mass which is also involving the second part of the duodenum. This is a gastric malignancy which is causing here you can see only mucosa, but rest of the gut signature is not visualized. This is the early malignancy. This is again a gastric malignancy. It's a huge circumferential mass causing a luminal narrowing. This is again a gastric malignant lesion causing a very abnormal wall thickening with complete loss of gut signature. This is again a video. It is showing the loss of gut signature with hypoechoic thickening of the antrum of the stomach. This is again a thickening of the stomach with loss of gut signature. This is again a malignant thickening. This is a duodenal outlet obstruction, lot of food and fluid residue. And this is a benign stricture due to chronic duodenal obstruction, chronic duodenal ulcer causing secondary healing by the fibrosis. This is duodenal outlet obstruction due to malignant stricture. This is a malignant stricture. This is a post-bulbar malignant stricture. This is again a post-bulbar malignant stricture causing a duodenal outlet obstruction. This is intramural hematoma at the jejunal loop. This is the intramural hematoma within the jejunal loop. It's a benign lesion, and this is the black is a fluid within the lumen. These are the small bowel polyps. This is again a small bowel polyp. This lesion is having high fat content. That's why it's a bright in texture. This is a large bowel polyp. There is a mass lesion in the ascending colon, and which is causing a luminal narrowing, and which was confirmed on the colonoscopy. This is acute terminal ileal intussusception, and the cause was polyp. This was a polyp causing acting as a lead point within the adult terminal ileal intussusception. Yeah, this is the polyp. This is the polyp causing acting as a lead point in the terminal ileal intussusception. This is again seen on the confirmed on the CT scan. This is a polyp acting as a lead point. This is a contrast study. This is a polyp, very high content of fat, and that's why it's a hypoechoic. This is the polyp. Yeah, this is a polyp causing a intussusception. This is a malignant lesion of the ileum, a cause of the intestinal obstruction. Here you can see it is causing a tight stricture. So it's a malignant lesion of the ileum, a cause of the intestinal obstruction. This is a CA rectum, and it has been perforated through a small 5 mm wide lesion, causing a perirectal abscess with air bubbles within. This is a hardly 5 mm wide perforation. This is a malignant perforation of the rectum. This is the case. This was having the CA rectum, but it is infiltrating the urinary bladder wall, and it is reaching at the mucosal submucosal level. This is a spread out CA rectum. And this I used to perform the ultrasound guided core biopsy if the endoscopist is not able to reach the lesion due to tight stricture, or if the biopsy was inadequate. Then I used to take the biopsy without entering the lumen, because you should not enter the lumen, otherwise it will cause a fistula. This is ultrasound guided core biopsy of the bowel wall tumor without entering the lumen. The ultrasound guided core biopsy of the portal vein tumor thrombus. This is the portal vein tumor thrombus. I took the biopsy of the portal vein tumor thrombus. It's very long course. This is ultrasound guided core biopsy of the tumor thrombus within the inferior vena cava. This is a large retroperitoneal mass causing a tumor thrombus within the inferior vena cava. This is a aorta. This is a IVC and causing tumor thrombus. And I took the biopsy of the lesion with the tumor thrombus, and I took the precaution that I should not hit the luminal surface of the tumor thrombus. This is ultrasound guided core biopsy of the right main pulmonary artery tumor thrombus. This is a right main pulmonary artery tumor thrombus. This is again a pulmonary artery tumor thrombus, and I took the biopsy of the pulmonary. See, I'm hardly 1.5 centimeter away from the heart. This is an intraoperative sonography of the pancreatic lesion for numbers and locations. This is the small tumors within the pancreas, and which is seen on for pancreas. Gold standard is endoscopic ultrasound or intraoperative ultrasound. You can see either what you know or what you can imagine. I feel some more efforts taken during all routine sonography exams can help to diagnose primarily hitherto undiagnosed GI tract neoplastic lesion, and sonography is an effective, useful, non-invasive method of investigating benign and malignant neoplastic lesions of the gastrointestinal tract. Thank you very much.